is really pretty interesting for me, because I normally, when I was thinking about what I was gonna say and planning it, I'm like, okay, so when I'm talking to a community of healthcare professionals, most of us, some of us are not so necessarily, but you guys are all helping seniors one way or another. And one of the things that I always encounter is because HomeWatch caregivers is a home care company, non-medical, as we like to describe ourselves. And some people get confused when we say we're a home care company. They all of a sudden turn around and go, how's that group home you have? I get confused with the villas all the time. Love the villas. The other day a client called me and said, I wanted to pay my deposit. I'm like, great, how much? $1,000, that's what you wanted, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you very much. But I'm not the villa, so I don't take a deposit. So I'm trying to get my timer here so you guys don't have to listen to me too long, or you don't miss the really good things. So I want to get that set. So first of all, how many people here work? I want to see a show of hands because I just kind of really want to talk about what I think would be value for all of you. How use? I just said use. I think I've been hanging out in Pittsburgh too long. How many of you work for a large corporation? Can I see a show of hands? Okay. How many of us work for a small company? How many of us work for a company owned by somebody else? That's not a lot of you. And so how many own our own companies? You know, like you kind of still do own your own company, right? Your own business. United Healthcare, your own business, kind of. Okay, and then how many people here are looking for work? I didn't hear anybody today. Normally we do have that spotlight. Okay, good enough. So when we all have a story, right? So my story started when I was in my 20s, middle of my college years. My father was diagnosed with early Alzheimer's. At that point, it was 40 years ago. No, not quite. But at that point, Alzheimer's was hardly talked about and hardly recognized. So we really didn't know how to deal with Alzheimer's. My mom, since I was single at the time, my mom, I would give her a break every winter for 2 weeks. She would go to Florida, do what she wanted to do, and I would go take care of my dad. Not a problem. I lived out of state, and I didn't get to see him very much, so the final year I was there, taking care of him for the 2 weeks. I said, it's been about 4 days, Dad, it's time for you to take a shower. You're getting a little red. So he goes into the shower. He's in there about 5-10 minutes, comes out. And I'm like, that's kind of quick for a shower. I know guys can do it quicker than I can, but that's kind of quick. So I go in, I pull the shower curtain back, coat is dry, towels are dry. And I said, Dad, you didn't take a shower? Yes, I did. That was the point where I was very, very lucky that I could call my brother and say, excuse me, get your ass over here because I'm not doing it. I had that liberty. A lot of us do not have that liberty. If I did not have that, I would have had to cross a line that I never really wanted to cross with my father. I didn't want to cross with my mother. I didn't want to cross with my father. I did have to cross with my mother though, but thank God for my brother. But so that is how my journey, like all of ours, kind of started. He did live with early onset Alzheimer's for 17 years. That was way too long for him to be living, and one of the biggest regrets that I always talk about when I talk to any community, and not necessarily you guys, but even more the communities where we're at, is that please don't promise your spouse or your loved ones, or don't ask them to never put you somewhere but home. Never put you in memory care. Never put you in assisted living. Please don't put that burden on them, because I know that weighed heavily, heavily, heavily on my mother, because she felt guilty when it came time that she had to place him. There was no choice. He needed to be placed. And lo and behold, lots of group homes, lots of stuff. He wasn't here. He was in Milwaukee. He said, "Don't ever put me in a nursing home." And I think that he kind of got back at us because he only lasted for 24 hours when he did end up in a nursing home. So good for him. I am okay, and I am happy with that. HomeWatch Caregivers is a franchise. I don't know how many of you guys know that. Arizona is a non-licensed state. guys do know that. So home care companies here, there is no licensure to have. Even if we want it, we can't have it. But because I am part of a franchise, I am held to the same standards as if I was in a licensed state. I have to do pretty much everything a licensed home care company has to do in a non-licensed state. I like that. I made the choice when I started to open this business because when I grew up, I was a social worker and I was going to save the world. And I did an internship at a nursing home. And I can say I hated it. I hated it. Every Monday morning, here I am, 20 years old, going into a nursing home going, okay, who died this weekend? And I couldn't handle it. It was just not my time. And my whole passion has always been teenagers and elderly. So at 21 when I graduated, I worked with teenagers until I became a little older. Now, I work with elderly, and I am okay with them passing. When I was 21, I was not okay with them passing. So I spent a good many years working with juveniles, being a juvenile counselor, loved it, had a blast. And then as I got older, I was looking at my 50s, and I said to myself, I don't think I'm a really good therapist at this point. I am not saying that there aren't some great therapists that are in their 60s and 70s. I'm just saying that I wasn't feeling like that was going to be the way I could go because I couldn't even compete with the computer games the kids were staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning playing. I'm like, what are they doing? There's blood shooting on the screen and stuff. So it was time for me to get out. So that's when I came back to the elderly. I wanted to work with the elderly. And I did a lot of investigating at all of the home care companies that were out there, the franchises, the starting on my own. And I'm not sure why, but I'm still happy I did. I went with the franchise where I could pay them a lot of money. Okay, I paid them a lot of money, and that's okay. And I'm hoping I'm still saying this in 20 years. But I really do appreciate the resources that they give to me, because it's kind of like having a whole bunch of you are the resources here for me locally in Tucson. I have corporate headquarters in Denver that I can call when I'm stumped on something I don't know how to do with it. So I didn't actually think that that was a wise thing to do until I met somebody from Eller College here at the U of A, and she's studying to get her MBA, and she goes, oh, you're part of a franchise? That's so smart. And I'm like, really? I thought it was kind of like the wimpy, easy way out, but no. Apparently franchises are the way to go, and they're the way to make money these days. So I did do something right, besides becoming a social worker, where my father told me I would never become rich. No, he's right, but I am making a living, so that's okay. So the world is made of a lot of profits and nonprofits, and I love when I have caregivers that come to me and say, I want to work for a nonprofit. Are you a nonprofit organization? I said, no, I am not. I happen to be a for-profit organization. Oh, well, I'm really looking for a nonprofit. And I'm like, why? Well, because I really want to give back to the world. And I'm like, you know what? I can't even tell you how many boards I'm on in this town, and I love every single one of them, and most of them are nonprofits. And I give back a lot, but we all need to have a job as well. So looking at the nonprofit, look at the profit world, I am a profit organization. There are very few of us here that are nonprofits. I know of one nonprofit hospice. I actually, I'm a president of a local Rotary, Presidio Rotary downtown, if anyone wants to be the cool Rotary, we're the young Rotary. So we had a member who asked for a discount because they work for a nonprofit. And I said, I can't give you a discount because you work for a nonprofit. I'm very sorry. I would love to. And part of my reasons are, talk about the CEO of UNICEF, $1,200,000 is his salary. He has a Rolls Royce at his expense, no matter where he is. And he is an expense account of $150,000 a year. That's his own play money. 14% of the 14 cents on every dollar that is donated to UNICEF goes to helping people. 2009, I don't have the big numbers for this one. The Red Cross, $652,000. 6 weeks paid vacation, and those paid vacations are literally paid vacations. The person and their family and their children go on paid vacations, all paid for. So I am not saying that profits and nonprofits, although one doesn't have to pay taxes, is the way to go, but I am saying it's something for people to think about, you know? And I love a lot of the nonprofit, you know, foundations that are out there, because there are people who have profit organizations, and then they create foundations so that they can have a client who passes away who wants to give money to help another family. It goes into a foundation. That's great. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that we are all here in for business. One of the big things that has hit us in the world is the health insurance mandate. Anybody who has over 50 full-time equivalent employees has to provide health care insurance. When I started my company 9 years ago, I said I wanted to provide health care insurance for my caregivers because I knew of no other company in this town that did. And now I know a couple of them are jumping on the bandwagon because they have to. I know a couple of them are making their employees no longer employees, so they do not have to. My goal was I wanted to take care of my employees as employees, so I am not mandated right now to provide health insurance for my employees, but I do. And I know of everybody else that is out there in my industry who is kind of level with me can afford to pay for health insurance for their employees. And if they don't, I say shame on you. Because we are in the caregiving realm of life here. And if we don't take care of the caregivers, they're not going to be around to take care of us. But that is very important for me. That's part of my passion, is taking care of my employees. I also have a matching 401k for my employees. They get up to 4% so that they can invest in their work life. I'm all about that. We're looking at a world of minimum wage is going to be $15 an hour soon. I know it's not on the docket yet for Arizona, but I know it's coming right around the corner, and it's something for us to start thinking about. Because I know I pay my employees a lot, but I don't charge a lot. If I were to pay my employees and be able to pay them $15 an hour, I'd have to be charging $30 an hour to be able to cover taxes, insurance, pay myself, gotta do that, pay the royalties. So all of those things that we need to look at. I work with a lot of my competition. I respect my competition, and I know you guys do too. And I don't badmouth my competition. There is great competition out there, and they help me. You know, I mean, I can remember calling Visiting Angels one Christmas going, oh my God, my caregiver just called off, can you help me? And they did. And I think that's what we all need to do here. You know, whether we're hospices, we're home care, we're insurance, we're placement agencies, we all need to work together and not badmouth each other. And as people know, I kind of don't like to put this in the forefront, but I will put it in the forefront. Buying leads, paying for leads. I'm hoping we're all just watching our P's and Q's when it comes time to doing that. Last but not least, when we're going into people's homes, I want them to talk about what they need. I want them to get a fiduciary so that they do deal with their medical or their financial POA, so somebody can take care of them. And make sure that they have a DNA. I fight doctors' offices a lot about a DNA for my clients. I hope you guys are fighting for your clients so that never happens. Advanced directives right now in the state of Arizona, you can go online and put your advanced directives online. So that means any hospital you end up in will have your advanced directives. How many of us have done that for ourselves? How many of us have shared that with our clients? Those are things that I think are really important for the clients. Finally, I'd like to think one of my those closing quotes. I am speeding because I have to get there before I forget where I'm going. Alzheimer's is hereditary.